Hey, Andrew Dice. How are you doing?
Anthony, I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, I guess. I didn't. I was gonna lie and say I just got. Anyway, Brothers is a sad game. We're looking at Brothers, A
Yeah.
Tale of Two Sons.
Well, not sad. I wouldn't characterize it as a sad game. It's a very
Okay.
emotional
It's
game.
emotionally.
Taxing.
It's gut punching. Punches you in the gut. Anyway, so this is probably a game not many people have heard of who aren't, indie or XBLA or Summer of Arcade aficionados. This is the first game that came out as part of the Summer of Arcade. It's called Brothers Tale of Two Sons from Starbreeze Studios. Both you and I have finished this game, and we can tell you that it is excellent.
Yes.
It is well worth playing, and to that end, we're going to show a little piece from early on so that people can get a general sense for what you have to do. Because I don't think enough people kind of understand even if they've heard of the game, I don't think they understand what makes it so unique.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth kind of looking at the mechanics and kind of explaining why it's so unique and why it's worth playing just strictly from a mechanical level, not just because the story's great, but the story is great.
Yeah, and I had heard it talked about in the same way that people talked about like smaller indie games like Gunpoint or
Yeah.
Monaco or that kind of thing. So I wasn't expecting a game as I don't know. It looks more expensive than I thought it would. That's a dumb way of saying it, but it's true. Like the actual art style and the asset quality, especially the longer you go into the game, just the prettier and
Yeah, I mean, this just this little vignette alone, little boy and
mhm.
boat in the distance. Yeah, there's a very kind of painterly, soft, like everything feels like really like brush strokes, but really soft palette going on.
Mhm.
Um, not nothing feels kind of sharp and perfectly designed. Everything kind of blends together, and it has a very unique visual quality to the game
Yeah.
that I would say isn't going to be winning any awards or anything like that. But that's what makes these smaller $15 games so great, is that they can be bold in their use of visuals and mechanics and make themselves stand out from everything else.
Yeah.
So great game, but yeah, we're gonna look at
Like play it. We should say that if you're thinking about playing
play it.
it, just
Yeah,
play it, and then if you're on the fence,
yeah. I didn't mean to
watch
hit continue.
this.
I didn't mean to hit continue because that
Oh boy.
spoilers. No, there's no
Oh no.
spoilers. No spoilers there. But I meant to. We're gonna select a chapter.
It shows off one of the more I mean there's probably about 4 or 5 like standalone areas, maybe would be
Hmm.
the way of saying it. I'd like they may be a few chapters to each, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Well,
think you want that one.
how many chapters there are?
Yeah.
There's actually quite a few. I think there's at least 10. Um, I just it's hard to pick up like
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
distinctions,
Like
but there's a lot. Yeah.
the but the there's kind of like acts, maybe is the
Hmm.
way of saying it. Like it
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The kind of natural story arcs. Anyway, these are your brothers, your eponymous brothers. They don't have names. I don't believe. They also don't speak English.
no, they
They
use the same sounds for each other
yes.
over and over again, but never English or
Hmm.
anything like that. No.
So, what makes this game unique is that I am controlling both brothers at the same time. So, the brother in the blue is my left stick, and the brother in the orange is the right stick. So, if I press both sticks forward, they both walk. If I press them both backwards. They both walk backwards.
And
So
if you move the brother in orange onto the left side of the screen, your brain stops working.
yeah. So I mean that in and of itself, pretty ingenious little invention, but also yeah, it could cause an aneurysm.
Yeah, a good one.
Well,
In a good way.
yes, okay. Well, it's kind of like sometimes it's hard to does not compute. You have a few does not compute moments, but if you keep them on the proper sides of each other, I think you find greater success. So besides the movement, you have on each trigger, it's kind of like your interact button. You can hold it down. You'll grab onto stuff. So as the two brothers, you're just kind of making your way. The story conceit is that your father is sick, and the two brothers, sons to the father, and so
To
yeah,
find a cure.
yes, they have to find a cure, and they are, kind of they're heading along, and you really don't know where the hell you're going. You're just kind of along for the ride, and there are a bunch of obstacles, and you have to use the brothers, in conjunction with each other to. That happened sooner than I was expecting. Happened much sooner than I was anticipating. Anyway,
Right.
so you have to kind of.
There are things that
they
the
work together.
older brother can do
Mhm.
that.
They work together, but the older brother obviously is stronger. He's taller, and the younger brother is more. Yeah, he can climb. He's more agile. He can get into places that the older brother can't. So as you can see, this game is freaking dark. You're just walking around, and some guy's like, "Oh, it's over."
Help
And
him.
I'm going to.
God.
We're giving an intro. I could hold him
Nice.
all day long. So what I'm doing right now is I had walked the brother over, and now I'm holding the left trigger, and then I'm also holding the right trigger now and moving the younger brother up the rope. So I am basically controlling the brother, keeping him still, and then also controlling the other brother. So it's kind of like this not weird, this interesting.
He's using like two
Like,
sides of your
yeah,
brain at once.
it's like this Heavy Rain's if you ever played Heavy Rain, like how you are, it's trying to require you to juggle two tasks at the same time. And as the brothers, you are, you'll run across people, and those are just kind of like interactive moments. Some of them are, sweet and delightful, and others are freaking dark, like the man hanging himself. But
Mhm.
anyway, so you'll probably see me always adjusting the brothers because I like having them on their right sides, because when they cross, it just becomes a nightmare. So here's kind of one of your standard puzzles in the game. So I have the little brother who can fit through the bars, and then the other brother he's the only one that can pull levers.
Mhm.
So what I want to do, actually I don't need to. Yeah, but so as the little brother, I'm just kind of being a little monkey, climbing around. Jumping or leaping is handled by pointing in the direction of something you want to go to, letting go of the trigger, and then pulling it again. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes
Assassin's Creed jumping
it
thing.
makes it easier when you're controlling both brothers to kind of climb up stuff, because you aren't really thinking too much about anything but the triggers. It's only two buttons, or actually one button, and the joystick. So here I got the left brother. He's holding the bridge up, and then the right brother kind of puts it out, and then nope, that was gonna fail. Phew, I got it. Yeah, so that's kind of how a lot of the puzzles work. Is that one brother, usually the little guy, adventures off, and the older brother holds a lever or does something. It gets more complex as you go along.
Yeah.
And then it even becomes way more, um, you know, not way more, but less kind of formulaic. There's a lot of stuff that gets really interesting the way it works, which is why we are showing this particular portion of the game, because I think there's a mechanic they introduced that's pretty fun. So here's a good look at the game. The game's art style. There are these little benches strewn about.
It is a great as you move through an area or vertically up, you can see all of the places where you came. Like God of War had that, where you're actually traversing the environment. There's no discrete cuts. Like you can see, I was down there and now I'm up here, which is very very cool.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a lot of attention to detail going on in the way that Starbreeze kind of crafts their levels. The levels have a very deliberate style to them of like you know where you're going, but you ultimately don't know where you're going, mostly because the brothers don't speak. But so,
but I mean, they don't have to, really.
Yeah. That I think that's the beauty of this game, is that it can convey a tremendous amount of emotion without these brothers being able to do anything but say really like the only thing they can do is, as you see, like the brothers can say weird things and point, and they'll have conversations where it seems like they're talking in a language that people understand.
It's how they're saying it, not what they're saying.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite parts of the game.
So we're riding some friggin' mountain goats. So do I have to? I think I have to. I don't want to test it, but yeah. So I'm holding the triggers and then navigating both the brothers.
And then the awesome music.
Yep, the music in this game is also very excellent. I think if you were a fan of Journey, if you thought that game was like so subtly beautiful, you will absolutely adore this game as well. It has just something so unique about it, and it only gets better. You kind of that's one of the things I should say is kind of start off and you get a sense for like how the mechanics work. There's like a cave level, and it seems very basic, and it seems like that's all you're doing is kind of very simple. Let me go pull a lever, or let me climb while he pulls a lever type of stuff. But it gets more and more advanced from there, and it just gets so good.
Yeah, the mission is to tell you a story through gameplay, but they got to teach you the gameplay first. And then once you have it down pat, which I kind of felt like was right before this stage, then they start, really impressing you.
Yeah, without question. So let me see. I did this once. Yeah. So you can throw the gears across and catch them, or you can just throw them across.
Yeah.
So as you can see, so this is what happens pretty often, is if I don't have the brothers on the right side, they end up just they're like wandering in weird directions. But
yeah, it's
it's a brain buster. I will say, to the game's credit, it's very forgiving.
Yeah. You don't need to balance crossing those beams. You don't need to. They're not about making you fail.
Absolutely, and they kind of, if you're supposed to go down a path, they kind of funnel you into that path. You aren't, like, let's say there's just a walkway and it's from an open area. The game will funnel the two characters into that path. Like going up these stairs, if I was just, way out wide, it funnels me up the stairs, so I'm not clipping into the corners or doing anything kind of frustrating trying to navigate. It's very easy to navigate them, even though it is complex to get them to go one way or the other. The act of moving them from place to place is actually jeez. I say this as my brain just breaks.
And
Okay.
coming off of playing The Last of Us, it was very refreshing to realize that the people who made this game realized having you die doesn't help us tell our story at all.
Mhm.
So, and that we, you know, the game is about some cool puzzles that it's in the satisfaction of solving them,
Mhm.
and the kind of little touches they add as you solve them. Like the because that's the thing is you say there are puzzles in that, but the puzzle isn't figuring out how to do it because it's usually pretty straightforward. Like there's a few ones that are kind of ingenious.
Yeah, um, there there are some puzzles where you really kind of have to think about it, but a lot of them are very straightforward, and I think they're not straightforward in that they're simple, but the game conveys what you need to do very well.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah,
this.
we talked about this before. And yeah,
You're flying and you see the brothers and you realize you need to turn and you just kind of instinctively know I need to shift these brothers over to turn. It doesn't kind of throw you through like here's a tutorial of how to do the flying section because this section only lasts for so long. You just kind of instinctively know.
very intuitive.
And exactly. Watch as I crash into this rock on accident. Talking and flying, kids.
Awesome.
Not the best idea. You can control the camera. I should say that.
Most
But
of the time.
yeah, most of the time you can control the camera with the shoulder buttons. But I find the camera moves fine. If I had to keep switching around the camera, I might have had a stroke or something. But yeah, just know that you can control the camera. So if you kind of see me and I'm giving you a weird angle, you can switch that around. But most of the time, I like to let the camera do its thing so that I'm not. Because when you spin it around and then you disorient your brothers, I need to keep them on their sides. But yeah, just like something as simple as this, just this very.
It's more mentally engaging than it probably looks.
Yeah, because
When you realize, oh, I can put both of them over halfway on one
yes.
side.
You are not controlling this winged glider using the joysticks. You are controlling them using the weight of the brothers.
Yeah.
So you are not flying the ship. You are controlling the brothers, which makes it all the more awesome. And it's also there are some truly well thought out portions of this game. You just kind of think to yourself, wow, that's really smart. And I think that's the best compliment you can pay towards this game, is that it's very smart and well designed.
And the level of detail on everything that you're only going to be seeing for about 2 or 3 seconds. And I mean, they go to the effort of making you always feel like you are just seeing a fraction of the actual world, which
Yeah.
seems like it might go against completionist gamers' urges, but it is very, very cool. The section coming up to it is a big example of that too.
So, the older brother has that little map, and plus, I think it's what he uses to communicate
What they're after.
where they're going. I don't know. Did you pick up where they were going, or is it not communicated where they're going?
It's kind of, well, like every
Don't spoil.
no, every fantasy story is, they get their mission, and it's they get the scroll, and it's kind of that's the first time you see what's on it, and you know what they're after, but they don't really. That's not the story, right?
Yeah. I just thought that was something that was really unique about the game, is that the characters know where they're going, but you don't know where they're going. But I wasn't sure if that was just because I didn't know where they were going. I didn't pick up on it. Whatever. Okay, so this is kind of, so at this point we already know the jumping. So how the jumping works is you push both the brothers forward, they reach towards something, you let go of the triggers, and then you pull them again. So then you kind of have a lot of these puzzles where you're just kind of leaping up. This is the next evolution of that, in that the brothers are tied to each other.
Yeah, and you can't go any further. You can't jump to the left.
Yes, you can't. Up until this point, they've kind of been independent of each other, and you've been platforming times 2.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're platforming as like 1.5, more or less. You gotta stay focused on keeping the anchor brother in holding his trigger down and making sure he's holding on to whatever.
And letting go.
Yes, and then letting go and letting the other brother and navigating that brother, kind of keeping his momentum going. So he's brother. Didn't mean to. Yeah, that's the other thing is, oh boy, if you mess up bad, and you feel bad about it because you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know that you let go of the wrong brother's trigger. But yeah, I thought that this was a good portion to show, because there's earlier on. So here we go. We got the brothers on the wrong side, so I'm going to just say, screw you guys, get on your right sides. Yeah, so early on you kind of get this basic kind of platforming, climbing mechanic, and it, while excellent, is not all that, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's while you're doing it, you kind of feel like, oh, that's it. But this shows you that they take very simple concepts and expand them in some really very cool ways. This is the platforming that you just did maybe 25 minutes ago, but on freaking steroids.
And you can get very, really artsy-fartsy, but this was the first point in terms of gameplay. This is the first point in the game where when I had the little brother holding on and let go of the big brother and he swung, I realized, oh, okay, the little brother isn't helpless. You know, he's not limited just by what he can and can't access, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good example of how they make the story kind of start telling itself just through how the brothers interact with one another. Like, I always found myself leading with the older brother.
Yeah.
God.
You'll notice that I'm letting go of the wrong brother sometimes, but as long as you keep one holding on, you're still good.
Yeah.
Falling to your death. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself. Anyway, yeah, what you're saying is, the little brother, he does have sort of like a weakness to him. He can't swim, and the older brother can swim. But there's kind of a story explanation for that, and I think the way in which that idea pays off later in the game is fucking incredible. Yeah. So, you know, when you see it and you're like, oh, the little brother can't swim, and then you're like, oh, that's so cliche. Trust me, it's pretty awesome.
It's very I would the game is appropriately named. I'll say that. It is very much about specifically.
It's about brothers.
I mean, they never speak. It's for all intents and purposes, it's basically the standard story of an older brother and a little brother. But what they do with it, I think this was actually a Swedish filmmaker, his idea. That was basically this same message and feelings could probably come across in like a short film, without dialogue or anything like that. But to actually make you play through it and make you play as the older brother and the little brother at the same time is such a, like, you're looking at the platforming. This isn't mind-blowing, but everything in this game is just kind of cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's mind-blowing in that my mind can't comprehend what I need to do. Like this, obviously I've gone through this portion again. I finished the game, but that climbing section, the first time you encounter it, oh, it hurts your brain.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to rush through it to make it seem simple, so that when other people play it, they struggle with it. I don't want to really explain how to do it, but I know how to do it now. And I think that's some of the magic is figuring out how to do something that you know what to do, but how to execute it well. Not let go of the wrong brother or both brothers. I did that once or twice.
Mm.
I think it's also worth mentioning that you are a brother to another brother. Wait, what? You are the brother of another mother? No. I also am a brother, but I have two sisters, and they're half-sisters, so I mean, when we were talking about this game, you said it kind of hit you because you are a brother.
Younger brother, yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically
a younger brother. Yeah. So, like, for me, I can still appreciate this story, but, somebody who is a brother. And
yeah, like, this was my my childhood was, following my brother around. Like, I would think, just, like, even he would have a very different experience playing this, in that, I look at it and without even thinking about it, I just kind of feel for the little guy, But yeah, like you said, you don't need to be. I mean, it's not like you got to be a brother to get this. It's they might as well just be, Jack and Daxter.
Yeah, and you believe, that you kind of sense their relationship. It's not like you need to fill in any sort of blanks. They accurately convey. So here you'll kind of see that this is a fantastical world. These are not just like brothers in like a old-timey setting. Like, there are obviously giants around and weird things that you may encounter, or you may just kind of see the remnants of scattered throughout the game, and that's also great that it's not.
Yeah, and in this part, if you look actually at how little of this level you actually walk across, and the detail put into everywhere else, is a pretty good indication of, like, they really, overload. Even if you're not going to be seeing all of it or witnessing it firsthand, you're going to realize, like, oh man, this is such a well realized vision that they had for this thing.
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of detail in things that you just pass by for 2 seconds, which again is a testament to a game that's very thoughtful. And so here's kind of another pretty simple puzzle. The younger brother can sneak through these bars, but the other brother's kind of helpless for now. So you can kind of relax here and just use half of your you can relax and use half of your brain. And what is wrong with me? Oh, bro. I will say that I don't know if you encountered this problem, but I found here's a test tip to bring it back to something that nobody will even understand.
Yeah.
I found it's easier to just let go of the trigger and then hold it again. That might be my one complaint, is the grabbing doesn't register as quickly as it might, as you might expect it to. So I found it's better to just kind of let go and then hold it again than to time it.
Yeah.
So
do a simple, like, button, just like imagine it's a gun, just take a shot with it and then.
So then you've been controlling the brother, the little brother, and then the bigger brother comes into play. He holds on to his sibling, and you free this little. What is it? It's a
It's an owl.
But it's got paws. It's like
it's not a griffin.
Yeah, it's not a griffin because it's part owl. Let's name it. I'm gonna say Jerry.
Okay.
Okay, but what's the creature name? We're gonna let it.
Uh,
Is that
Hippogriff?
Hippogriff?
Would be of a type of that, probably.
Okay, Hippogriff. I'm down with that. Harry Potter style. Um, yeah. So this is kind of where we'll end things. We don't want to go spoil too much of the game. There's actually quite a lot left, so don't feel like we just covered like a quarter or something. There's actually a lot to cover after here. But I think this is a good kind of ending off point. Once again, kind of communicates just like how joyous the experience of
The majestic is all hell.
yeah, majestic. That's the word I was looking for. But also, this game is mature. It's though it's got two little kids as its main characters, it deals with some dark stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's mature in like the subject, not the content.
Mhm.
Like I feel like a little kid could play this and not be
Yeah,
horrified, or more than they would be, anything in Harry Potter or anything like that.
yeah, but just like it's. Don't be fooled by the fact that you're controlling two kids.
Yeah.
You'll touch on some stuff that's pretty mature, and you'll see some things, or the game isn't just this colorful platformer. It's got a definite tone that is much more somber than you're expecting, which makes it excellent as well. So that's your dad. They set up in the beginning that he is sick, and that's you're going to find him medicine, and that's the general conceit of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, out now on XBLA, coming to PC very soon, I believe.
Yeah, August 28th,
Okay.
And then PS3 on the September 3rd.
Oh, excellent. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you check this game out. Both of us highly, highly recommend it. It is an excellent game. Hopefully now you kind of got a sense for, it might have been better to see me, play, see my hands, but just kind of imagine that, I'm controlling each brother with the joysticks. Every time I'm grabbing or climbing, I'm using the triggers, and think about how your brain would explode if you had to do that. Just think about that. Think about how you.
And then when your brain gets it, your heart explodes.
Well, way to add insult to injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Brother's Tale of Two Sons. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.